I'm Josh, down at Last Bastion, and today we're going to show you how to magnetise Citadel's Imperial sector, because a while back we did a video on how it actually was done in magnetised, but we didn't actually show you a video of how to actually do it, just that we did it. So now I'm going to show you. So pretty straightforward. You know how to glue, well, hopefully you do know how to glue the panels together. So obviously I've done a bit of a Blue Peter job here and done some pre-made stuff already. And what you do, you get your two panels for the walls glued up and ready. Then you get your flooring done as well. For the magnetising on the flooring, each panel bit there, where you got the line, I've drilled some holes in for the magnets to go into. And it may seem like a lot, but a lot of magnets is good because it helps keep the building together, so it's good. Then it also helps when it comes to lining them up on the building, so you know exactly where the magnet is going into. On the walls, we have magnets on the bottom panel and the top of the bottom panel, and at the top of that panel there. So it helps keep the walls together as well, so you're not just relying on the magnets on the flooring to keep the thing together. I've managed to magnetise at the same locations on here as well. The way I've done that was very easily. Drill the holes out here for your magnets. As long as it's down at the bottom, what you want to do is 2mm thick magnets, which we end up going for 2mm thick in diameter and 3mm in depth, which are those ones. Take a look.
It's not showing up very good. It's too tiny. Video won't pick it up.
Oh well, as the video won't pick it up, it's basically a 2mm diameter magnet, 3mm depth. Now, with the 2mm depth, it means you can actually drill into these bits here and not have to worry about the magnet coming out either side. So it grips quite nicely. And that's simply by using a 1mm drill bit followed by a 2mm. Nice, simple and easy. So you put those magnets in first, then you get some paint, some bright coloured paint, because you need to make sure it shows up on the other panel when it comes to sticking. So I've just gone for some moot green, and you might not be able to tell, but I've already marked a little bit of paint on the magnets, because you can see by the outside there. Then once you put the paint on, just a little dab. When you put the buildings together, like that where you want them, you'll end up pushing together. When you pull them apart, you'll end up with little blobs of paint where the magnets should sit. Don't worry if it's not a perfect circle and it's a bit smudged, it's just for reference. So once you've got your marking, you then drill for your magnets. The ones on this side, as you've got a bigger surface to drill into, I've gone for the 3mm diameter wide magnets by 2mm depth. That way there's more of a surface for the 2mm to grip onto, and it allows for a little bit of adjustment. So that way you're not having to worry if it's not dead centre when you drill in. It will still magnetise quite nicely, as you can see. So it grips quite nicely. With the flooring, I've done pretty much the same as well. I've done 2mm magnets by 3mm depth, and they're good enough to keep the fixing. To show you how I drill these in, I've not done on that one, and I'll show you now how to do it. So, as you can see, there's the line down there that we're going to use as a reference point. And just a case of placing the drill, make sure it is in the middle, because slightly to one side you will end up going slightly wrong and drilling through and making a bit of a mess when it comes to using the 2mm bit. Sorry for any squeaking in this. See, if you notice as well, I'm not being careful or gentle, and it's not because I'm that good at magnetising or anything. Because, funny enough, all this has been magnetised. It's pretty much the first stuff I have magnetised. It's just, with using a 1mm drill bit, as long as you centre and you're drilling straight, you literally have no worries about coming out the other side of the piece and ruining the actual magnetising process. When it comes to putting the magnets in, you always want to make sure you've gone deep enough, because it's better to go deep than go shallow. Because with the magnet, if you're not gone deep enough and you go to put it in, it's a tight fit, it's very hard to get out, and it won't actually stick in properly if it's not deep enough. Try and keep the camera still, please. Unfortunately, we have slightly rude humour, so it's very hard to keep a straight face in this place. So, always make sure you drill deep enough, because at the end of the day, it's a lot better than not.
You've got to really plough it.
Yeah. As Matt says, you really got to plough it in. With the 2mm drill bit next, as you can see, I've not got a handle on this bit because I'm a lefty and it's just how I drill. Now, as you can see, here's me talking about making sure to get straight down the middle, or else it won't go in properly. You may or may not be able to see, but I've actually drilled a little bit off the middle, and as such it's come up on top. That isn't too much of a problem, because with these buildings there's actually enough gap there for it to slip in and leave a gap for any eventualities like that, which is quite handy. Let's quickly make sure it's deep enough. If you're not too sure if it is deep enough for the magnet, get drill bit, push it in the hole, push your nail up to the panel, keep pressed down and pull out. That will give you your depth. And then you just line it up to the magnet, and if they don't meet, then you've gone deep enough, which I have. Don't put your magnet in yet, because if you put magnets in now, it gets a bit tricky finding out if they're going with the right polarity. Because I've done, when I was doing the first one of these, I got halfway through it and just put the magnets in willy-nilly, and then I realised half the magnets didn't line up properly because they were different polarities. So that was fun trying to get those out. When marking up the magnets for the buildings, the reason why we've gone for these bits here is they're good reference points. So you slide the flooring in there, then you can use a pen, a bit of paint, a scalpel, whatever. I've used a pen because it's bar, it doesn't make that much of a mess, and the lines help mark out where your magnet's going to go. So you can just do that, because I know full well I don't have to judge where the magnet is because I know where it's gone in, because that's where I drilled. So that will line up pretty well. Then it's just a case of starting off with the 1mm bit. If you do too big a size when it starts off drilling, then you'll end up going straight through the bit of plastic, which isn't good. when you do this, little drills at a time, not too many, because when you're going in deep with this, you can end up coming through the other side, which I've done on a couple of pieces, but thankfully with a bit of green stuff it will hide up quite nicely. I'm going to check the other side, make sure it's not come through. Lovely. There's a little bit more. To a bit next. Do that. Great thing about using a 1mm drill bit and 2mm, and I go from 2.5 to a 3. The great thing about using that way is the most work you have to do with the drilling is with the 1mm bit. The rest of them, it's quite easy to drill the hole out. It's just a slight trick to make sure you don't drill too deep. On this, I don't lose them. And this is the 2.5. What you can do as well, if you want to make sure the holes you're drilling are deep enough, is if you've got some extra magnets lying around and you know their depth, how long they are, as long as they're smaller than the hole you're drilling, you can actually use those to check the depth. So I've just gone for a 2.5 hole. The magnet that I'm about to put in the hole is 3mm. So I'll put it in there. It'll go in almost all of the way. Just about half. Which means it's almost the right depth, just need a bit more work to it. So like there, as I was saying, you can end up going through. Thankfully, what I've come through, it's right next to the insignia, or the one of the insignias. So some flat green stuff over that, and you won't have to worry how it will look. Or if you want to be fancy, you could leave the hole there, do a little bit of scoring damage there, and work it into a bullet hole. So it means you don't have to worry too much if you do mess up. So that's the great thing about drilling holes into buildings, you can make it look like weapon damage. Let's drill a little bit. Can't believe I drilled through.
I can.
Oh, thank you for the confidence.
So I did it the other day to a Panzer 1.
Ooh.
Drilled the hole straight through the top of the turret. Even the pros do it wrong, man.
What are you doing drilling the turret?
Trying to put a magnet in to magnetise the turret, and got a bit carried away.
Now, magnets then. Start off with, put the the big magnet in first. Because the reason why we do this is if that magnet isn't flush, then the entire flooring won't actually fit in. So we need to make sure this one goes in flush first rather than the flooring. So, if you notice, not paying too much attention how this one goes in, just as long as it does. Not put any glue in this. For the simple fact, as you can see, I'm having to push quite hard to get this in. And that's because they all fit quite snugly. Now, if you find out they don't go all the way in, we have something that helps the magnets go in. And you get your drill bit like that on top of the magnet, and you use a hammer. Obviously, I've gone through with the drill bit and that's going lightly, so obviously I don't want to whack this too hard or else the magnet's going to pop out the other side. So, light taps. And that is flush. So that's that bit done. Now, your little 2mm magnet, easiest way to pop these in is you pick it up, drop it on the magnet. That way, you know full well you're not going to put it in backwards and it will stick. Because as long as you've lined everything up properly, when it comes to sliding in, it will go in first try. Pop in that. It also helps as well doing it this way, pushing the magnet in. You don't have to worry if it's not glued, because you find out the right depth. Once it's in, slide, then move. You do that so it doesn't pull the magnet out. As you can see, it's come off a bit there and it's sticking out a bit. So I need to double check to make sure it's in properly, because I don't want to make sure it gets glued in that position if it's not going to sit in properly. And that is actually pretty good. I just have to clear that bit off. See, this goes to show as well that you'll only need glue if you've not drilled straight, because that, you can see the top of the magnet there, it's a 2mm magnet in a 2mm hole and it's not coming off. Even if I were to put it to a stronger magnet, I'd use the one that actually did magnetise too. It still stayed in and hasn't moved. So it saves on super glue. There's a reason why I don't tend to use super glue when using magnets. Where it's a tight fit with the magnets, with the glue in, it makes that a little bit more tricky to get in, because you need to make sure it's the right way in and it will go in all the way first time. Because what I do tend to find when I first started doing this is when I put super glue into the hole, put the magnet in, I'll then put it in, attach to the body, realise that's not sitting flush. Pull it off, and by the time I've done that, the magnet would set in place and I'll still have half the magnet sticking out, which would involve either trying to pull the magnet out or using a hammer to whack it back in. So that's why I've been avoiding using glue, super glue, when it comes to putting the magnets in, because I found out that the plastic holds it in just as nicely. And the only way the magnets are going to go is on other magnets, so you know you're not going to lose them. But that is now it. So apart from the hole on that so it looks on the other side, so it's going to be very easy to fill in, or a bit of colouring for a bullet hole, sorry. So now where is that? Just nice and simply. Like that. You'll find as you putting the flooring in, you'll feel the magnets pull in. So as you can see, like that. Obviously, it's not stuck together, but you push it in to create the hole with the magnets, and hey presto! And that is how you magnetise scenery. And that was simply with 2x3mm magnets and 3x2mm magnets. Nice and easy. Any questions? Put down in the comments. Thank you.